begins here in the Miami airport with huge lines of mainly Cuban Americans waiting to go to Cuba to visit relatives. And every person is carrying one and more of these blue wrapped items of goodies for their families in Cuba. Through security and then onto Sun Country to Santa Clara on a Boeing 737-800. Hot and humid as we land in Santa Clara, Cuba. And at all Cuban airports, you walk to the plane. Stopping here in the heart of Santa Clara, a town of 800,000. It's a little hot here, maybe about 90, no humidity. Looking at people working in the square. And this green hotel was where the final battle for Castro to take this city took place. Batista's forces were in the hotel. And now we enter the House of Culture. Every city has one to hear a concert. These are the actors and actresses posing for us. Speaks English. Is the way that planes are done in Cuba. And as we approach the hotel, the sun is setting with mangoes in the distance. Music at all meals. Our group, first dinner at Santa Maria.
Leslie at the dinner. First night in Cuba.
They wanted to go.
A warm and slightly humid Sunday morning begins here at the Malia Buena Vista, Cayo, Santa Maria.
And that's how they do
down the street.
I need one of these. Okay. We'll make one of them. Which is
the tour this Sunday begins in the main square of Cayo. Now into this Art Deco building, the Lampusa print shop. The paper is from South America, Mexico. The ink is from North Korea. The machine is printing lunch tickets for the workers at the hotels. This print shop is going to go privatized in April, one of 3 in the country, and it's only semi-privatized. They get to keep the profits, but they do not own the equipment. The state owns the equipment. As a private collective, they are responsible for paying the salaries, the rent, the utilities, the maintenance of the equipment, and any other workers' sick leave, anything like that, versus the state who covered that previously as a totally state-owned business. This is a typical toilet in the print shop, no flush, no toilet seat. So now we go see the local artist, Madeline. As we walk to the artist's house, a local taxi passes by us. There is an Oldsmobile 88 with the new white license plate. If it were state-owned, there would be a blue stripe. Since there isn't, it's privately owned. Then we go see Madeline's artwork, and the goat is not part of it. But this is her style right there. So that is Madeline, the artist.
Of the house. This is a project she's developing now.
How long does it take you to paint a shirt?
20 minutes.
Her artwork's pretty cheap, about 20 kooks, $20 for any of these paintings. And in Madeline's house, we have a more modern toilet that actually flushes. Still no toilet seat, of course. We're on to the town of Remedios. Lunch in Remedios at El Cayo, which we walked to, of course. This is a state-owned restaurant. That means all profits to the state, and the state sends back salary checks to the restaurant. After lunch, we get a demonstration on how to climb a palm tree.
Want to know how old Nico is?
71. I picked up on that.
And next, we're going to be trying this. We'll see how far up I get. So, he has a safety rope that's connected to the ground, so if he falls, it'll keep him from digging too big of a hole. Because of street width restrictions, we have to go to the cathedral via taxi. So we ride along in the cab. Chicken place. Driving around the main square of Romeo. First sign in Cuba of handicraft work. These cabs cost about $400 each.
It's from the 19th century.
Cathedral de
And then in the 20th
Remedios.
century, it was
Biggest building
restored
in
again,
town.
and they rescued the ceiling of the image.
Las imágenes vestidas son propias del siglo
Spanish
XVII.
everywhere.
The one that actually had
It's Monday morning. We head off to Havana today via Santa Clara. It's around 7 a.m. This is the Malia Buena Vista. And there is where they're going to serve breakfast in 4 minutes. Breakfast on the deck. And here is the inside of the buffet in about 5 or 6 different areas. This is an all-inclusive resort. That means nothing costs any money. Now to the Remedios baseball stadium for a little batting practice. So as they pitch to us, they would measure the speed about 75 miles per hour. 15-year-old pitcher. I swung and missed 3 times before I got the bats homemade in Cuba. And like all people programs, after we hit, we talk with the team members. Baseball players make 1,000 pesos a month, much higher than the standard 400 a month. The manager gets 675 pesos a month. Now to the Remedios train station to catch a train. The woman is selling peanuts in little white containers. After a half an hour wait, the black smoke finally appears. And the train approaches. We visit the art school. It's 12 noon on a Monday.
They study at the music department of the school. They are at the 3rd and the 4th year of their career, the last years. They are 17, 18, and even 20.
Just off the square. There's food being served family style. Arrival food at Rosalito. With one last look at this open air atrium, it's off to Havana. Those are the uniforms of a high school or middle school, which they would call here pre-university. A pizzeria. And there's another type of taxi, a horse-drawn one. Monument of Che Guevara, born in Argentina, fought in Cuba, died in Bolivia, and this is where his remains are buried. The second hotel we are staying at on the AMK tour is the Molina Havana in Miramar, a suburb, a very nice suburb, about 20 or 30 minutes outside of downtown Old Havana. The hotel has a lovely lobby. That's where the prostitutes at the lobby bar would be after 10 o'clock at night. Lots of pools. With pretty flowers. Tuesday morning here in Havana begins with a lecture from someone who is in the Cuban State Department.
And I'm a former diplomat. I used to work for the Foreign Ministry for about 20 years. And while I was a diplomat, I was posted to Washington, D.C., Canada, Netherlands, New York. And those, many of those private businesses have been receiving the support of their families from abroad. And that's a very important point. I mean, the families in the other side helping their families and their friends here in their wealth and in their possibilities of creating new jobs and everything, which is a very important issue.
Elementary school. Returning to the slum mural neighborhood 2 years later. And I am seeing lots of new murals all over the place. All corners like this one were once garbage dumps, and garbage was sticking on the corner. From the slum, you get a great view of the refinery in the distance. This is probably no longer a slum with all the remodeling and tourists that have come here. Signage in Old Havana to get around. Now a walking tour of Old Havana. We started a walking tour of Old Havana in Cathedral Square. Our guide is Daniel, who's in charge of the reconstruction of Old Havana. His organization runs everything in Old Havana, including even the flower girls, to pay 45% of everything they own back to him. As do these street musicians playing for tips. This is a typical Cuban house business on the ground floor. Slaves up a half floor, and then the family lived on the next two floors.
Every day.
There's the Hombres Mundos Hotel, where Hemingway lived and wrote for whom the bell tolls. Now we climb to Plaza del Arms. There are vendors everywhere in Plaza del Arms selling fake cigars, peanuts, you name it, they're selling it here. This is the only street in Havana made out of wood, so that the wife of the consul general could take naps in the afternoon. This is the courtyard of the palace, and inside they have peacocks. What a very nice courtyard. This is where the Governor General of Cuba from Spain lived. Cuba was founded right here on the spot in 1517, and the first mass was held underneath that tree. The building was built in the 1800s. And this is the former U.S. Embassy prior to 1959, again on this square. Here's a typical restaurant, about 15 CUCs in this tourist area to get a full meal. Alright, and get a street food. So this is where the authentic Buena Vista Social Club is. This was the marketplace in Old Havana. Also, later on, it was a parking lot in Old Havana. All the dogs in Old Town are required to have a picture name tag in order to sleep on the sidewalk. After a late lunch at the Cafe d'Orient, where the old bank in New York, it's off to the Casa de Africa to learn about sangria.
Her symbol in the nature is Klein.
Y además es la orilla del río Níger en África.
And she's the orilla of the Niger River in Africa.
Rainbow Marina will celebrate a holiday of one of the Santeria goddesses. Red and black is the symbols of the goddess. Tobacco Day here in the city of Cuba. A stop at the Vanales Valley. This is what people come here to see in Vanales, this scenery. Lots of interesting formations. And at every tourist stop, of course, one will find crafts. Lots of crafts. And opportunities to pay for photos. And one can stay at this hotel and have the scenery overnight. Lunch stop with a view of the Vanales Valley. Organic farming.
So it's the case I was telling you about. Those farmers who don't own the land, but they grow crops, they ask for that land.
Tobacco growing. This is what a traditional tobacco farm drying house looks like. So 90% of the tobacco is sold to the government and 20% to him, because the government thinks he's planting 40,000 hectares when he plants 50. Thursday morning begins at La Terraces. The Terraces. La Terraces is a state-run resort, gated community. My standard drink in Cuba. With a red outfit, which costs a dime, by the way. buy on the black market means it's an elementary school. This is the local ration shop for the town. And at another location is the CUC store. This is where you would buy your soap and shampoo. From 1-year-old to 5-year-old daycare center. The cost for this is about 20 or 30 pesos a month, or $1 a month. If one wishes to spend the night at La Teresa's, here's the Mocha Hotel, 4 stars. Food's going to be a little more expensive at the hotel, about 15 cooks for a meal. Thursday's lunch is at Campo de Casino, a former French coffee plantation house. Lunch, This is the Foster neighborhood, where he's decorated every house in the neighborhood. And here's a sign that says, "Wait at Foster's house." And we proceed down the street to Foster's house. A lot of new sculptures since I was here 2 years ago. This is the local doctor where you go if you have a minor problem or to get referrals. Now into Foster's house. So we're in the second level, and this is the view from there. 3rd floor view. So between 4 and 8 tour buses a day, between 9:30 and 5, come to tour the house and see Foster's paintings. Dinner with a view. Rice and beans and fish and pumpkin. Friday morning starts with a church-run daycare center for the poor located in a real slum. This slum is totally unsafe to walk at after dark. You would get raped. So this is a local church.
They have here is 30. They take care of 36 children who have problems in their family. They are, let's say, socially disadvantaged.
30 children are orphan abused families. Those do not wear habits in Cuba. Lunch at Divino's, an organic farm. Builder will show us how to cook fried chickpeas. Add consomme, powder.
And finally, the chickpeas. They prepare everything. You can store it in the fridge, in the cooler,
Maybe 5 minutes,
and you can keep it for a month without problem.
Pressure cooker chickpeas for 45 minutes. And thus Friday comes to an end. Final day tomorrow. Saturday morning begins at Revolutionary Square in Havana. And across from Revolutionary Square is the monument to Jose Martin. So that's the Ministry of Police with Che Guevara's face on the building. The gateway to Christopher Columbus Cemetery, the most expensive monument on the property. There are 45 burials a day here in this cemetery. This is, of course, where the rich families, which are all private plots, are buried. The money for these wealthy families came from tobacco, sugar, and slaves. This is the interior of the grave for the second president of Cuba. And here goes one of the 45 funerals per day right here. There are no hearses in Cuba. Instead, they put flowers on top of a Toyota, and that's a hearse. This is a Cuban middle school or high school. This is the Artisans Market, former warehouse. So they're selling coconuts, 1 CUC, and I bought one, freshly cut. Lunch is at the Sloppy Joe's Bar. The bar is air conditioned. Once upon a time, the largest mahogany bar in the country. A stroll down Armagh Clara Street. A very pretty looking street. So what do things cost and how much is in English? Well, in the better restaurants, especially in the tourist area, all the menus are in English. At this location, most every entree is 3 cooks, $3. Guantanamo is one of the songs you will hear the most here in Havana. We are going to the Hotel Nacional via Old Cars, a 1959 caddy off the Hotel Nacional. Waiting for buses.
Y si vas al pobre, quiero que me traigas una virgencita de la caridad. Yo no quiero estampa, yo no quiero flores, lo que quiero es virgen de la caridad. Y si vas al pobre, quiero que me traigas, nene, una virgencita de la caridad. Y si vas al pobre.
What a view at sunset from Hotel Nacional.
The name of this player is Havana H.
Bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez.
With the sign of Viva Cuba by Fooster, this could be a good time to end the video.
Y ella no se acuerda ya de mí. Después, como le digo al corazón,